Welcome, you guys. Thank you so very much for tuning in to Just Enough Spice, where we talk about ways to strive for better. So today I'd like to talk about inflation and the effects it has on our behavior. I came across a news channel that was talking about people in Europe and what they're going through right now with regards to inflated prices and increased prices on energy costs for gas bill and electrical bill. And I thought it was very interesting. And one might question, well, what does what is going on in Europe have to do with us in America? And I thought in the back of my mind that this is only a matter of time before it meets us here. We're already seeing certain things, and I'll go into that in a minute, but the broadcast was talking about, it had a few families, and they were talking about what they've had to do these days, or what they had to give up, in the sense that they had to either make choices between do I pay my gas bill or do I eat? And that was quite alarming, and one doesn't want to think that it'll come to America, but if we are at the gas pump paying right now $5.50 a gallon, one can only think that it is only a matter of time before it gets here. The second thing is this self-fulfilling prophecy that comes along with inflation. So we feel as though inflation is coming, and because we feel that way, we feel as though we need to jump ahead or get ourselves in gear so that we're ready for whatever is going to come. We head to the store, we see things at prices that maybe have increased a little bit, and because we are afraid of prices continuing to increase, we say, well, let me buy more than one of what I need. So you buy a bunch of things, and because you are buying a bunch of things, there are many other people doing the same thing, which is then causing a false demand, and with that false demand comes increased prices. So the retailer is thinking, well, there's such a demand for these things because everybody's coming in buying 10 at a time or 5 at a time, that for me to keep up with the demand, I need to raise my prices. Or at least if it is so much in demand, let me raise my prices and make money while I can. So it's this loop that we're going through. I'm feeling as though I need to stock up. I go to the store, buy more than what I need. The owner of the store says, well, if she's buying more than what she needs and all the other people that are coming to the store are doing the same, I can raise my prices, and if they want it that bad, they're going to pay it. So it goes around in a circle almost and gets us right back to what we did not want, which was inflation, increased prices. So as I was saying again, I was watching this broadcast on TV, and it was talking about families that were struggling in Europe and what they had to go through. And what I gathered from the program again was basically people are having to choose, do I go without one thing to make sure that my kids have or my family has something else? Do I turn off the heater to make sure that we can eat, or do we eat less so that we can have heat during the winter? And it's really scary that this is going on, but sign of the times. After watching this program, I got curious to see if this was actually the case. I read a few articles. One of them was economist.com, which basically said that the increase in prices is going anywhere from $1,000 a year of what a person was paying for to heat up their home, for instance. It's going up to $2,100. That's more than double of what a person was paying, say, a year ago, that they have to now fork over to pay for just heating costs in their home. And according to Bank of America, it is estimated that families in Europe will pay an increase of almost 54% of what they were paying the year before for energy and costs such as heating bills and electrical bills. As you can see from the chart, it clearly shows that countries in Europe are experiencing a significant increase in prices that they're paying for energy. For instance, France is showing 730 euro increase, which is equivalent to about $825 in American currency. It also shows that Italy is seeing an increase of 939 euros, which is equivalent to $1,060. The UK, for instance, is also showing an increase of $941, which is equivalent to $1,063. These are amounts that a family in Europe has to pay in excess or over what they were paying last year. And for sure, I believe this is coming to the United States. So I know you guys are saying to yourselves, well, why is she talking or telling us about what's going on in Europe? That has no effect on us. And even though that might be the case, we should be looking at to see what we are possibly going to be going through in the near future. I don't know if you guys remember, in February of last year, Texas had a power outage where people were living like, I don't want to say third world country, but people were going without hot water, people were going without light, people were going without heating. It was pretty bad. So these are things, you know, if we think for just a second that maybe we should pay attention to what other people are struggling through, to see that there is a possibility that one day we might go through that, it might help us get prepared. So it starts off really slow. We go to the gas station. Maybe when we used to go to the gas station, it cost us what? $50, $60 to fill up the gas tank. And now we go to the gas station and we walk away paying $100. Start scratching your head like, what's going on? So another thing that I've noticed with regards to inflation and the effect it has on our behavior, I've noticed that it is, or at least we have now adjusted, or we're beginning to adjust our spending and shopping lists. For instance, and I'm only talking about groceries at this point. For instance, you go to the store and you normally buy steak. And for some reason, steak meat is so expensive right now. You say, well, you know, maybe I should just buy chicken. Instead of buying things that your kids want, you now have to decide, well, instead of buying the 5 things my kid wants, I can only afford to buy 1. And I'll give an example as to how inflation has affected my mind when I go shopping. And this ties into what I talked about earlier with regards to the self-fulfilling prophecy. You go to the store, you feel as though inflation is coming, because you think it's coming, or because you know it's coming, you buy more than what you need, causing the seller to now, because many people are walking in buying more than what they need, the seller is now increasing the prices. And we're going in this revolving door or revolving machine, and what we are afraid of happening is actually happening because of our habits that we have now changed, thinking or anticipating that this is going to happen. So my example that I wanted to give, the other day I went to Costco. This day when I go into Costco, I don't know if it's because of what I've been watching, the news I've been reading, but I was hypersensitive to the prices. And I started paying attention to the prices on items that I generally buy. So as I'm looking through the things that I normally purchase, one of the things that we eat a lot of from my country is rice. And I don't necessarily eat that much rice, but it's a staple that we always have in the house. So as I'm looking at the prices, I noticed that rice has increased ever so slightly. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, this must be inflation starting. So because I'm thinking this must be inflation starting, even though I don't eat that much rice, I walked out of the store with more than 2 bags, 25-pound bags of rice. Now, I don't eat that much rice, but for some reason I felt as though Armageddon was coming and I was going to buy more than what I needed. This is that self-fulfilling prophecy that I'm talking about, and I just told on myself. But yeah, it actually affected me. I go into the store. Now, I have an obsession with buying tissue, for instance. Anybody that really knows me know any given day I have at least 4 of those big pallets of tissue in my house. I go to Costco, there's 4 of these big, I think it's like 40 rolls in it. And for some reason, there's 4 of those in my house, but for some reason I go in and I have to buy 2 more. Why do I need that much tissue? If and I think I'm somewhat sane, you know, many people might question that, but if I am doing that, what are other people doing? And if I'm doing that and other people are also doing that, what does that tell Costco? Raise the prices. People want it so bad, raise the prices. You know, I remember when we used to go into Costco and buy the water, the Kirkland water, I think it was like $3 and some change. The other day I went there and I think it said $6 for, I believe it was 40 bottles of water. It said almost $6. There are certain things that I like to eat. Crab, for instance, I just don't even pay attention to that anymore because I'm not going to play into that game. But if and again, I say I'm a somewhat sane person, somewhat rational person, but if I'm doing this, there are people out there that are probably doing worse. And if just all of us are doing about the same that I'm doing, then definitely the price is going to shoot up. So how did this happen? Well, it's the perfect storm. There was a lockdown, and the lockdown, depending on where you were at, lasted anywhere a month, 2 months, 5 months, 6 months. And then we reopened. And when we reopened, people lost their minds. You know, they had been locked down for so long, they just felt this urge to spend money. And not only did they have the urge to spend money, the government had given them so much money during the lockdown that they had this pent-up demand to spend. They go out trying to buy. And because of the increased demand in buying, there's a bottleneck on the imports. And I know you guys have heard about imports right now, or at least in ports in, I believe it's Long Beach, where they're just ships just waiting to come in. And not only is there a bottleneck for the imports to come in, but people that are normally offloading these boats are quitting their jobs because they say they need a raise. So the employer capitulates and gives the raise to the employee, and now the employee has more money to spend. Not only do they have the stimulus money to spend, but now their jobs are giving them raises like they've never seen before. So there's that demand. I have money, I have to spend, I want to spend. Not only I have to spend, I want to spend. And in you going in and spending, the seller of the product is noticing that you are willing to pay more money for what it is that you're buying, or what you bought, say, pre-pandemic for less. So what happens in that case is the prices keep going up as the demand keeps going up, and the demand is not going to stop because we have money to spend. And we're not paying attention to what we were or what we are paying now. Not really. It hasn't sunk in yet. We are still willing to pay that increased amount, an amount that is much more than what we were paying pre-pandemic, because, well, we've gotten the raise, we have the stimulus, we have savings, our savings are pretty high, so let's spend. The question I have now is, with all this increase in pricing, do we ever go back down to pre-pandemic amounts that we were paying? Or do we, as the consumers, say to ourselves, well, as long as the price goes down lower than what I'm paying now, it doesn't matter? Because at the end of the day, I don't think that we're going to see those low prices that we saw before. I believe that the consumer will be satisfied with just getting a lower price than what they're paying now. I saw a chart the other day that showed an increase in food items, and I wanted to share it with you guys, and it will be attached right up here. And as you can see, it clearly shows that food is on the increase from last year to this year. As you can see, it says bacon is up 18%, steak is up 17%, I believe fish is up 13%, and chicken is up 10%. It's clearly on the increase, and at some point, if you are, say, a bacon lover, you're going to have to start thinking, do I really need that bacon? if you are a steak lover, you're gonna have to start thinking, do I want that steak? Do I want it that bad if it's up 17 or 18%? Lastly, the value of the dollar is going down. And this is one of the reasons why I say think twice before you go and just have a savings account. I do not believe in savings account. I always feel as though I need to be investing rather than saving, because the interest that they're giving on these dollars these days is so minimal. It's a joke. So there's the inflation drama and what we are facing. It's not as bad as Europe, but where does it go from here? Currently, they're saying that we are at a 7.48% inflation year over year, and the experts out there are saying that we're probably going to be seeing anywhere from 12 to 13%, so double-digit inflation, and we need to get ready. The next video that I do, I'm going to talk about how I'm preparing for inflation, and I hope that you can join me. Once again, thank you so very much for tuning in to Just Enough Spice. I know that your time is valuable. Thank you for giving me a minute of your time. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next one.